Okay, so how did I even start on a path to early intervention for my son? Well, around 12 months or so, I noticed that my son still hadn't said words or waved hi or bye, no mama, no pointing, none of that. And I remember his 12-month appointment, his pediatrician at the time, they have a checklist they go by. And when it came to anything that had to do with communication or speech or, just communication, he was lacking in that area. So we said we would monitor it, but we did notice that he was behind. We're with Pediatric Associates. So we moved in between his 12-month appointment and his 18-month appointment. And so at his 18-month appointment, not much progress had been made. And, not much progress had been made. It was a new pediatrician, a male pediatrician. Not that has anything to do with anything. At first, I really wasn't comfortable with the pediatrician. Like I said, he had really made a lot of progress. Still no words, still no pointing. He was flipping out in the doctor's office. He was having a very, hard time dealing with being at the doctor. And at this time, I was getting his 18-month shots so that he could start daycare, because I still saw signs, but I felt like he's still a baby. He's still young. Maybe once he starts daycare, he'll be around other kids, he'll adjust, etc. So at the appointment, the pediatrician, he said he was the one who referred us to the program for Early Steps, because he said he was just too far behind developmentally. I did not buck it, because I am a believer of anything can help. It won't hurt. As long as, again, there's no medicine involved, what could it hurt to at least go get him assessed? So I contacted Early Steps. That process, I'll make another video about that. And about a month later, I finally got the first in-home consultation. In this month period, my son did start daycare. It was not a good experience, and he was only there about 2 weeks before the daycare and I both agreed that he just wasn't ready. Every day he regressed more and more. It just wasn't getting better. I know it's hard for daycare for kids, period, but this was something different. And the daycare and I, we talked about it, and we just agreed that he just wasn't ready for daycare. He was in his own world. He had certain ways, and he just was in his own world, and he would totally zone out when he was there. And it just wasn't a good experience. He didn't participate, he wasn't necessarily a loner. It's just, he could not adapt to structure at that time. So I pulled him out. We did our first in-home assessment, and of course, she wanted to see how he was living, and, just to confirm, his environment, which was safe, secure, comfortable. And she indicated that there were red flags. So she said the next step would be to go and get a clinical evaluation, which happens maybe about, maybe about a month or 3 weeks later, the clinical evaluation. And at the clinical evaluation, it was thorough, it was long, it was tedious. It wasn't necessarily a bad experience. It just, we were in a small room, me, him, and the counselors or observers or psychiatrists. And it just wasn't. It wasn't my most favorite experience, but it wasn't like super bad. And then from there, they again assessed. He had the red flags for not only speech, lack of speech development, but they also saw flags for autism. I don't think I made that clear earlier. Initially, my pediatrician sent him to Early Steps for speech therapy. And the in-home evaluation was for speech therapy. And then the clinical evaluation brought in the observations of possible autism. So because of that, there ended up being one more assessment, a play assessment for autism, where they looked specifically for autism characteristics. So the second assessment was September 19th. The third assessment was October 10th, very recent. And we went, it was me, my mom, and the therapist. They did specific, this one was much shorter. Because they were looking for specific behaviors and characteristics, which they did note. But again, they are not pediatricians or neurologists, so they make it clear we're not diagnosing him. We just see the red flags, and we will work with you for the next 3 years. Up until he turns 3 years old, 36 months, and we'll work with you and support you. We are support. We are family support. So he qualifies for this program. His first in-home session is going to be Monday, October 28th. And they come out twice a week. 2 different therapists working on 2 different areas. And his second session will be on Tuesdays. So I'm just looking forward to see, what happens next. Like, how does he adjust to the therapy? And, again, I am more of the mind, it's not going to hurt him. So I'm all about it. So we'll see what comes of it. But that was how we got here. I have to give much praise to the pediatrician, because again, I wasn't one that was saying, oh, he'll just grow out of it. I just didn't feel like he was at a point where he had to get early intervention. And I'm going to give kudos to myself, because I didn't just, shove it off. A lot of parents, they're like, oh, he'll grow out of it, oh, he'll deal, he's young, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I'm dealing with now. When I speak to people about what he's going through, the first thing they all say is, oh, he's still young, give it time. Yeah, but what I don't want to happen is for time to pass when he could have had all this extra help and therapy, and I missed out on it. So that's where we are with that, and that's how we got to where we are now.